You walked into the conference room with the best idea anyone had brought in months. You had the numbers, the slides, and you had practiced the pitch in the shower that morning. And 20 minutes later, you walked out wondering why nobody seemed to care. Someone else's half-formed suggestion got the nods, and a decision was made that wasn't yours. Actually, the closing ceremony. It's the designated time for a decision to be announced, not reached. Sharp engineers often watch colleagues get the high-visibility projects, even when their own work is technically superior. They assume the difference is a better personality, or perhaps just luck. The difference is often simpler. Those colleagues talk to people before the meeting. By the time the group sits down around the table, half of the room already agrees with the proposal. If you only show up for the ceremony, you will keep losing to ideas that are worse than yours, but whose timing is better. The boxes on your official org chart dictate authority, but they say almost nothing about who actually moves the needle. Look at this diagram. Beneath the rigid hierarchy is a second structure, the informal network. It's a map built purely on trust, history, and who grabs coffee with whom. This is the system that actually shifts resources and shapes choices. Sociologist Ronald Burt found that most employees live on departmental islands. Engineering stays with engineering. Sales stays with sales. They rarely speak to the people right next to them. Burt called these gaps structural holes. They are the communication breaks where information and ideas simply stop moving. But a few people build bridges. They maintain a relationship with someone in sales, engineering, and finance. Burt called these individuals brokers. Brokers appear like geniuses because they sit exactly where the information crosses. They hear about a finance problem before sales does, and a solution in engineering before finance does. They look like they're connecting the dots, when they simply stood where the dots were already passing by. Corporate influence is rarely about your title. It is about your geography, where you sit in the flow of information. We often group backstabbing and credit stealing with the quieter act of building relationships across the office. These are two different behaviors sharing the same name. One is corrosive. The other is the only way to actually move a good idea forward. Springing a new idea on a group in public triggers an immediate survival instinct, caution. People don't want to look foolish endorsing something untested, so they ask skeptical questions or ask to table the discussion. Now imagine grabbing 15 minutes with two key colleagues before that meeting. You walk them through your thinking and listen to their concerns. By the time you're in the room, they aren't hearing a surprise. They're hearing something they helped shape. Senior leaders operate this same way. By the time a decision reaches a formal boardroom, executives have already sounded each other out in the elevator. The meeting exists to ratify a consensus that was assembled in pieces. Private listening creates the space for the kind of unposturing conversation that is impossible in a crowded room. For the next 2 weeks, stop looking at the org chart and start mapping the specific routes information travels through your office. Watch where everyone's eyes start when a difficult question is asked in a room. The person everyone glances toward is the center of the network's influence, regardless of what their badge says. Abandon the instinct to dazzle everyone with a finished proposal. Instead, socialize your half-formed ideas early with 2 or 3 people. You'll find the holes in your thinking while the stakes are low, and plant seeds that might be watered later. Generate a reservoir of goodwill when you don't need anything. Help a new hire find their footing, or answer a question from another department, even if it's not your job. The network keeps score. Many of us were taught that good work speaks for itself. It's a lovely idea, but it is mostly false. Good work sits silently in a folder until somebody chooses to speak for it. Executing the task is only half the job. The other half is ensuring the work has vocal advocates before the decision moment ever arrives. The real meeting happens in the hallways and the direct messages. To make sure the best ideas win, you have to stop waiting for the ceremony and show up to the conversation before the doors are even locked.